You got the work ethic, you've got the strength, but you want to become a freak athlete.
And the stud freshman breaks into the open. He is gone.
We're gonna give you 5 key concepts that you can use to become more athletic, and we're gonna start right now. People struggle with jumping. Single leg hops can be challenging. And even some bilateral jumps can force you to be a little bit more athletic, to spark that athleticism. So we need to use a lower body training day to improve our athleticism. At Garage Strength, typically we'll use that leg power day. That's gonna be on day 1. And then most importantly, on the back end of the week, on day 4, we're gonna train Impulse Day. Impulse Day is gonna help us be more athletic. It's gonna help us learn how to move more dynamically and improve our neural intelligence. A neural genius is someone like Simone Biles. She's muscular, she's ripped, she's explosive. Her body is absurdly intelligent. A neural dummy is gonna be an athlete who's a husky bull. They're about to do a box jump. Maybe they do a gallop step or they stutter step before they hit that box jump. But the good news is that even that neural dummy is able to improve their coordination. That JV athlete can go to becoming a varsity athlete. That varsity athlete can go play in the NCAA. And if we keep training properly and we keep improving the intelligence of our nervous system, that's going to lead to greater rates of coordination. That's going to lead to greater control of freedom, like co-contractions in various joints, which will lead to greater joint stability and in turn help us produce more force. And because I know you're already intelligent, you're watching a Garage Strength video, we're gonna be giving away a free t-shirt. When you comment down below, you like, you subscribe, you ring that notification bell, and we're gonna pick one of you guys who comments, and you'll be awarded that free t-shirt on Tuesday at 9 a.m. in our YouTube Live. That's 9 a.m. Eastern. I'll see you there. Before we start moving weight fast, we've got to make sure that we're warmed up properly. So what's the best way to light up our nervous system? We want to start to do things that are a little bit more unstable. We want to get that heart rate elevated. And one of the quickest ways, and we use this inside of our app, Peak Strength, is to actually get on our PVC pipes. And so inside of our app, Peak Strength, we're gonna select Universal Training Athlete. We're gonna go in, all right, I wanna start to warm up. I'm gonna get on the PVC pipe. After I'm loosening up my knees, loosening up my feet, starting to get a little bit more mobile, starting to get my heart rate elevated because I'm on an unstable surface and I need to be aware of what's going on, which is why this is a great warm up. We're gonna lead into the next aspect, which is going to be a bear crawl press. Now we hit the PVC pipes. Let's say we do one set of 15 yards or meters if you're over in the rest of the world. And then the next step, we're gonna do that bear crawl press that I mentioned. Now, I like to use our power elastics. I'm gonna be using our mobility band, okay? So we get a nice easy band. We're gonna wrap that around my foot. Bear crawl position here, and I just wanna go boom, boom, boom.
Where's the kaboom? There was supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Okay, let's say we do 5 to 7 on each foot, each leg. Okay, so we switch. We're gonna come back to this quadruped position. Boom, 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 boom. One more. Boom. And we wanna squeeze through that trunk, get into that good overhead position. I know I'm really tight, I'm old. I also ran a lot yesterday, so I'm a little stiff, but this is really good for waking up that dynamic trunk control. Then that last thing that we're gonna do, so we're just gonna do easy duck walks. This is really easy for someone like me who already has that duck-footed position mastered just from that genetic position of my weird feet. So I'm gonna go here. Oh yeah, okay. Go forward, go backwards, let's say 5 to 10 meters. Oh, okay. Then we're gonna go back onto the PVC pipe walks, back into the bear crawls. We're gonna go through this 3 to 5 times. That's gonna get our heart rate up, and that's gonna prepare us to move that weight fast. So one of the best exercises to use to learn how to move heavy weight fast? Technical coordination movements all day, every day. It's as simple as E equals MC squared, one of my favorite Jay Dilla and Common songs. Now, we wanna do something that's going to light up the nervous system. We wanna recruit very, very quickly, and that's gonna take us into a 2-box power snatch. This is one of the best exercises that every single athlete can learn how to master. It's a very simple movement that works at very, very high speeds. It's going to improve your body's ability to rate code. Now, some of you might be grumbling, well, what if I can't do a 2-box power snatch, or I don't have access to that? Fortunately, inside of our app Peak Strength, there's an exercise replacement. Okay, so if you want to click on, I need to replace this movement pattern, you can actually select another movement. And a great exercise to replace the 2-box power snatch would be hitting a dumbbell snatch. Okay, so you could do a dumbbell snatch for 3 on each side, right? Or even if you wanted to, you could also do a trap bar jump. But one thing I'll mention is that typically at Garage Strength, our athletes are almost always going to be smashing this 2-box snatch. One more, DJ, a little faster. Good. So you can see he's moving it very, very quickly. He's coordinating at high speeds, and then he's getting into that compression position even better. So that's one of the biggest benefits behind using technical coordination movements to enhance your nervous system's rate coding and neural intelligence. And to optimize your performance, you've also got to make sure that you're following the right rest periods. And that should be based off of where you're at in your periodization model. Inside of Peak Strength, we actually have a rest timer that's going to be based off of when your goals are going to be achieved. So there might be times that you're doing a 2-box power snatch on the minute. There might be times that you're taking 1.5 to 2 minutes because you want to push a little bit heavier weight. But that rest period is going to play a pivotal role. So how do you develop neural intelligence if you're using absolute strength movements? We know here at Garage Strength, we love lifting heavy. But what can you do if you like to lift heavy and you also want to increase your ability to recruit at very, very high speeds? Typically what we would do is we're going to make that movement, that absolute strength movement, much more dynamic. And we're going to pair that in a contrast method. And we're going to show you a couple different ways that you can do this to optimize your body's intelligence and overall performance. So let's take the back squat for an example. Okay, if I take this out of the rack, get set, what I want to do is focus on a nice and controlled eccentric to start. So I can go 1, 2, 3 on the eccentric. And I can come up fast, okay, nice and controlled. One more. That's one way we can start to really light up that deliberate movement that's going to be rapid. Another unique thing that you can do with the squat is you can hit 2 unbroken reps. Okay, let's say you're warmed up, you're ready to roll, and you're feeling good. You're inside the ascension phase or the summit phase, you're ready to peak. And if you're inside peak strength, you know what that is. Okay, that's some good speed, that's good deliberate action. Now, the next thing I want to do is pair this with a movement that's going to force me to be more athletic. It's going to force me to understand co-contractions and reactions. That next movement is going to be a dumbbell jump into a hurdle hop. You can use 20s, 25, something lighter. And we want to focus on touch and go, touch and go. Typically, I would recommend about 60 to 90 seconds between that absolute strength movement and that plyometric movement when we're doing contrast training. So let's go a double. Okay, so we just did that double unbroken. Now we're getting here, we're going to go 1, 2, here, boom, boom, boom. And then that's going to help you recruit at a higher speed. Now, rest 2 to 3 minutes. My heart rate's elevated. My body's recruiting very, very rapidly. I'm going to walk back to the squat, stay around 60 to 65%. Focus on deliberate action, moving quickly, being fast, recruiting at a very, very high speed. Okay, so we showed you those technical coordination movements. We got into the absolute strength movements, but now how can we sort of isolate an entire region of our body to recruit specifically the way we want it to recruit, which is going to be very, very quickly. And that's going to be focusing on specific accessories that are going to light up our glutes and light up our hamstrings. And the first movement I'm going to demonstrate, this is one of my favorite all-time movements, and I use this when we're getting closer to a season with athletes. So if we're in the ascension phase or the summit phase, we're getting close to football season or baseball season or wrestling season, this is a really good accessory that you can use. Okay, and it's going to be a drop lunge. I'm gonna have this up, I'm gonna plant, drive back up, okay? Plant, drive back up. Now, I'm gonna show you a couple alternatives. You can be a little bit more advanced. You could go on an elevated position here, an elevated platform. So you're here, boom, up. boom, up. And this is gonna help improve that blast impulse, and you're gonna feel it in your glutes. So if I show you from the side, right, I'm here, boom, and you can hold dumbbells again. But one thing I really like doing is taking this mobility band. We showed you this with that warm up with the bear crawl. This is a real easy thing to do, especially if you're traveling, is that when you drive back up, you can even try to achieve that hip lock position. So I'm here, down, boom. And look, this is pulling me down, and I have to have a little bit more tension inside of my trunk, so that dynamic trunk control, and then we can come back up. So there's a couple different ways that you can train that drop lunge. Start from the floor. If you want to add the band, obviously pick up the band at garagestrength.com. And that third thing is you can actually elevate your position. Focus on that trunk position so you're not collapsing all over the place. You can hold dumbbells, and it's a great way to train at high speeds. Now, what I really like to do is get into an isolation movement specific to the hamstrings that's gonna strengthen the semitendinosus and the biceps femoris, which ideally, one, will prevent hamstring issues, but two, will help drastically increase our ability to run faster. So going from that drop lunge, we wanna get into a razor curl. And this is one of my all-time favorite hamstring developers. But I wanna maintain hip flexion when I'm at that full range, okay, when I come back. That's gonna light up my hamstring even more. That hamstring action or hamstring contraction is gonna be a little bit stronger while I'm maintaining that hip flexion. I also wanna do this timed. So we could do like 4 sets of 7 seconds, 5 sets, 7 seconds, 5 sets, 10 seconds. Try to pick a period of time that's gonna be very rapid, and you wanna be as aggressive as possible. Now, I would 100% warn you, do 2 to 3 sets, like warming up effectively, okay? Don't just dive into this. You could do 1 set of normal glute hams, another set where you go a little bit slower with the actual razor curl, and then that third set a little bit quicker, but not full tilt, and then you get into that position where you're ready to roll. So this glute ham will move a little bit, so be forewarned. But what I wanna look at is if I'm doing a razor curl, and I was talking about this hip position here, okay? I wanna go out, come back in, okay? So if I would set a timer, let's say I set the timer for 5 seconds, I would go here, We probably should have had somebody hold this one. Typically, I would also recommend using the razor curl timed on like a poor man's glute ham, or if you have a training partner who can hold your ankles. Or like this, here. Okay, so that's gonna be, if I set that timer 5 to 7 seconds, I only got 3 reps. But ideally, we wanna improve that rep range so that over 5 to 10 seconds, I could get 5 or 7, because that's gonna show that I'm operating a little bit quicker. And then finally, I'll give you a better alternative if you don't have access to that equipment, is that we can do a sliding leg curl. We can get into a position, get some hip flexion here, boom, 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 boom. Okay, so we wanna do that as quickly as possible, and that's gonna help focus and develop those hamstrings. We'll go back to the drop lunge. You do 4 or 5 times through, and it's gonna really, really isolate that posterior chain to fire at higher speeds. Now, what's one thing that every neurally intelligent athlete does better than that typical husk bull? They throw on the brakes faster and snap into that athletic position. They can master deceleration. That's why we love to have athletes do what we call the Kamara stops. We're gonna have dumbbells or kettlebells or plates hanging from the end of a bar. It could be a barbell, a band bell, whatever you need. So what we can do is we attach that, and even if it's at different heights, that's okay, because we're forcing a little bit more of reflexive work. We're forcing more trunk control. You might want to switch sides when you're doing this so that you can train both sides equally, but if they're at different heights, that's not a big deal. Now, we're gonna get into the bar, okay? Get under the bar, not into it. And what I wanna do is I wanna come up here, boom, and I wanna control this. Here, boom, and I wanna be rigid on the catch, boom, and squeeze. Ooh, look at that, I'm getting pulled a little bit more. Boom. Okay, and we wanna hold that position. It's gonna be very similar to what we showed you when you're doing those hurdle hops. So if you're doing those absolute strength movements with the fast back squats, and then you're getting into those hurdle hops, that counter movement position is gonna be very similar to that Kamara stop. You can use these Kamara stops on impulse day to provide a crazy amount of stimulation, which in turn will help you recruit and create more joint co-contractions. So it is possible to become more neurally intelligent. We have to train and improve the breadth of our movement vocabulary. And if we use things on impulse day, we use exercises at higher speeds that are controlled and also have a positive intent, a controlled intent of moving things rapidly, that's gonna improve your overall ability. And to improve your neural intelligence, make sure you head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store, the Apple iOS Store, and download Peak Strength today for 7 free days of training. During those 7 free days, the worst thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna get 5 free workouts. You can cancel at any time, but at some point, you freaks have to begin your journey to attain that peak strength. Because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.